Trump is cooked. Even MAGA has completely turned on him now.
We need in 2026 for this administration to be shut the down. What does this administration do other than cover up the Epstein files, embezzle money through government contracts, and bring us to war for Israel?
Which stems from Trump randomly deciding to start a war with Iran in the Middle East.
Most Americans are completely against this war because, like you said, the president has made no case for it. We live our ordinary lives and we don't feel threatened by Iran.
And now MAGA and every single Trump voter, no matter why they voted for him, feel betrayed.
They're laughing at you. They're taking your vote and they're laughing all the way into the Middle East to start yet another war.
But needlessly starting a war on a foreign soil, costing American soldiers lives, is where even Trump's most loyal defenders are breaking ranks.
And I'm watching it sink by its own doing. And so this is horrifying. And so, but I can't sign on to covering up Epstein. I can't sign on to World War III.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
So Iraq was more popular. Afghanistan was more popular. I think Syria was more popular. Midnight Hammer was more popular. You just look at Trump and you're filled with disgust. You look at him, he's a totally diminished figure. Watching him on Friday declare this war in his sad little hat, no tie, with a black curtain. He's 80 years old. He doesn't even care.
So it seems like the reality distortion field finally wore off around Trump and MAGA, because everything that Nick Fuentes is explaining right now of how he views Trump is how we've always viewed Trump. He always came across like an incompetent, unintelligent, incoherent sleazeball. And now that he turned his back on MAGA, America First, the Republican Party, and he's just doing whatever he wants unilaterally and not serving their purposes, they finally see the reality of what Trump is, which is an entitled slob.
He's at a ceremony today, pinning a medal on a soldier, slurring his words, stumbling over his speech. You look at this guy and you're like, who are you? Seriously, who are you? What is this? It's actually scary. It's actually disturbing. And we watched Trump come down the escalator in 2015 in June, and he said, we should have never went to Iraq. There were no weapons of mass destruction. They knew there were no weapons of mass destruction. We don't have it. We spent all this money.
Are they just now discovering that Trump is a grifter and a liar? Trump does not care about the Republican Party. They gravitated toward him when he came out as outwardly racist against Obama. And ever since then, Trump has been grifting, whether that's faking like he's religious when he is just the most non-religious person in the world, or that he identifies with the working person when he was born a multi-millionaire, or that he cares about any Republican policies or ideals. He doesn't. He did all of this to make his family richer, and now other billionaires richer, and that's what he continues to do.
And to think 10 years later, we're doing this? You look at Trump and it's like, I don't know you. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you are. You are demonic. You are a demonic force. And what's really freaky is now he's always talking about going to heaven. I'm not going to heaven. Yeah, I think you might be right about that, because you are a demonic force. You are a liar. You are diabolical. You are a traitor.
When Nick Fuentes starts to call people demonic, you know we are through the looking glass at that point. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has been one of Trump's biggest critics ever since she took off the MAGA hat, went all the way in.
Most Americans are completely against this war because, like you said, the president has made no case for it. We live our ordinary lives and we don't feel threatened by Iran. We don't walk around thinking that in any moment an Iranian ballistic missile is going to land on our head. We don't.
That is a very good point. If you ask anyone the reason that America is now at war with Iran, nobody is going to have a real justification for it.
Here's what Americans, and I want to read off this list. This is what Americans are focused on. 72% of Americans can't afford health insurance. 58% of Americans can't afford car insurance. 67% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 31% of Americans can't afford their back taxes. 50% of Americans are in credit card debt. Massive credit card debt.
They're going to have to add utilities to that because these data centers are spiking every single person's electric bills. My bill this month is the most expensive bill I've ever had since I've owned this house. It's insane. We have to do something about regulating AI in these data centers. If not, they're literally going to suck the earth dry of resources and leave us with nothing while we're paying for it.
That's where we are in America. And I campaigned with the president. As a matter of fact, I was one of the only Republicans that was out there for Donald Trump when the rest of the neocons, by the way, that are just cheering him on now, had abandoned him and were trying to beat him in a primary and stop him from being president again. I was out there on the front lines for Make America Great Again.
It's just not a point that you should be bragging about. You are a part of the reason, just like all of these influencers, like Andrew Schultz that is now turning against Trump. Cool, you woke up, but you're also the reason we're in this shit that we're in to begin with.
Right now, is we have seen over 100 little girls killed at a school from a bomb, and I don't know whose bomb it was, but they're dead today because America and Israel attacked Iran. Our president is saying that the Iranian people are all of a sudden going to topple their regime. Well, I don't think the Iranian people are going to be toppling their regime.
They're in the street right now chanting death to America. So I don't think the Trump administration's actions led to a spark of rebellion like they were hoping to do with this whole scheme.
Getting blown apart by the United States and Israel in an unprovoked attack. And yes, it was unprovoked.
Keep in mind, they renamed the Department of Defense Department of War, and MAGA still believe Trump had no intentions of going to war. How does that make sense? With even goofball racists like Lily Gaddis having something to say.
No, you just sit down and you be loyal and you support and you cope and you seethe. That's what they expect you to do. They expect you to be a good little cuck and sit in the cuck chair while a president that you voted for screws you over.
This video is going to be nothing but clips from the most unlikable people I've ever discussed on this channel.
That's what they expect. And you know what that represents? That represents their ultimate disdain for you. You're sitting here like an idiot being loyal to a president who doesn't give a shit about you.
I would definitely agree with that. Trump has only cared about MAGA as a brand and a vehicle to lead him to more power and more money. He's never cared about any of these people. And the fact that they are just now realizing that is baffling to me.
They're laughing at you. They're taking your vote and they're laughing all the way into the Middle East to start yet another war.
Didn't Trump say all of his fans are dumb or something like that? Or people with intelligence aren't MAGA?
It's time to let it go. It's like chasing some guy that's never going to be, guy or girl that's never going to be interested in you. At some point, after so many hours of no response, of no contact, at one point you got to be like, he ain't that interested in you.
Even a broken clock is right at least 2 times a day. And for all the other people that really believed in MAGA or still believe in the Republican Party, even though they've completely vanished at this point, it is the party of Trump and nothing else. They are finally waking up to the reality that Trump has destroyed their party and any hopes of them winning an election from the midterms to 2028.
All right, guys, there is an absolute bloodbath happening in Texas tonight. The Republicans in the vote for Senate have currently registered 1,326,000 votes. The Democrats have registered 1,501,000 votes. The Democrats are outvoting the Republicans in Texas in this Senate race. The Democrat candidate for Senate this year is a viable candidate. He's likable. He's marketable. He's run a good campaign. But where all the momentum is at right now, the Democrats look like they might flip a Senate seat in Texas. That's how bad this is. And yes, this is 100% because Republican voters have no enthusiasm and they are not excited to go vote for Republicans. And this is because of the Trump administration and because of the GOP. The biggest factor that's going to turn all of this off is this war with Iran. Now, it's likely that this deal for the war with Iran was already cut, and that's what Trump did. That was the deal that Trump cut in order to get elected, was that he promised the donors and everyone else that he would engage in this regime change war in Iran. All the defense contractors, all the new tech AI contractors, Marian Adelson, the Israeli lobby, they all backed him, and he promised them regime change war in Iran. And you can see where this is going. Oh, no new wars in Iran. Oh, it was just a precision strike. Oh, it's just a series of strikes. Oh, we need regime change war. Oh, we may need boots in the ground. This is a bloodbath. This is what's coming for the midterms. We are cooked. Do you understand? If the Democrats flip a Senate seat in Texas, then you get to 2028 and the Texas electoral votes go to the Democrats, it's over. If the Democrats have California, New York, and Texas, it's game over. It's done. The Republicans are cooked.
As much as it pains me to give Candace Owens any credit, she was definitely the first on that wave of right-wing influencers to start calling out Trump.
You're going to infiltrate and convince us that this is the same party while we get gaslit about everything that's happening. Like I said, you lost the party. MAGA got fractured, not when Tucker Carlson interviewed Nick Fuentes, but when Donald Trump looked at us in our faces and said, Epstein who? That's when it was game over.
And I'm watching it sink by its own doing. And so this is horrifying. And so, but I can't sign on to covering up Epstein. I can't sign on to World War III. And so that's why I tried to promote the optimism, because I fucking need this, man. Like, I want to fix the country. I want to turn it around. So it's not that I was delusional. And I still hope we can turn it around, but sorry, go ahead. You get what I'm saying?
And the best part about all of this is at this point, Republicans are just outright rooting for Democrats to win.
Fuck JD Vance, fuck Marco Rubio, fuck Tulsi Gabbard. Donald Trump has made his bed. Like, this really is it. This game where there's Tucker Carlson and there's the majority of his base and there's Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly and, whatever. Donald Trump chose Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham and Benjamin Netanyahu, the most discredited, evil, laughing stocks on the planet. That's who he chose to go all in with. So he's made his bed. Let him sleep in it. I hope the Republicans lose the midterms this year. They need to. For the country, they need to be destroyed. And no one from this administration can be supported in 28.
Something has gone horribly wrong. All of those people, with some exceptions, were never Trumpers in 2016. Shapiro didn't vote for Trump in 16. Mark Levin was critical of Trump in 2016. Where were these people when the movement was actually born, when those pillars were in place? Now all of those people are in the center. The movement is something else now. And what we need in 2028, this is our last chance, we need in 2026 for this administration to be shut the fuck down. What does this administration do other than cover up the Epstein files, embezzle money through government contracts, and bring us to war for Israel? This administration needs to be shut down immediately. Do not vote in the midterms, and if you do, vote for Democrats. Fuck this. That is what the Republicans deliver. That is what our golden age looks like. The tariffs were refunded. The deportations were stopped. They wound down and withdrew the ICE from Minneapolis. What does this administration do other than embezzle money, go to war with Iran, and bury the Epstein files?
But when you see stuff like this press conference with Trump talking about starting a war with a whole entire country across the world so nonchalantly and saying more Americans are likely to die, something like that would wake you up if you believe this was a good person or a person that actually cared about our country, which he never was and never did.
Send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more. But
Trump is insane. There is no way he should be president. How is he not impeached already just for being named in the Epstein files, let alone unilaterally deciding to take us to 2 different wars? And we reached a turning point when Uncle Ruckus is like the Hodge twins, who sold out their whole entire reputation and careers that they had before, are now speaking out against Trump and losing their audience from it. And they were catching all the smoke all day from these tweets. Don't care if we lose all of our followers over this war. We won't stay quiet about Americans getting sent to die for Israel. So now Republican voters are calling us libtards because we don't like U.S. soldiers dying for Israel. They are definitely getting that Negro wake-up call today. Before they got a makeover, Hodge twins for hood rats. That's what they get. Trump is cooked. MAGA is cooked. The Republican Party is cooked for the foreseeable future. If there are free and fair elections for the midterms and the U.S. presidential election, the Republicans are going to face a blue wave like none other. It's good that these people are finally waking up, but I can't give them too much credit because they were willing to deal with Trump, everything he was and everything he stood for, as long as they all got what they believed in or wanted out of the deal. But now that they're not getting that, now that they they feel betrayed, they're finally waking up and realizing that MAGA was a lie and Trump is a self-centered liar that only cares about enriching his family. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting and thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.